What's up, guys? Expel here, and today we're going to be going over the UAV and the Minimap. But before we hop into things, ladies and gentlemen, I want to let you know there may be a couple of things that we're not going to cover in this, or at least in the main gameplay portion of it. I may just talk about it at the end, just a little bit. So make sure you watch the whole video. Just make sure that you watch all the way through. I am gonna have timestamps in the description, but I highly recommend you just watch the whole video because it's a lot of information. It's hard to unpack whenever you don't have all the knowledge that you need. So make sure you watch the whole thing through. I'm not sure how many people are gonna actually need this, but it is a part of my Warzone for beginners. So hopefully you guys will get at least a little bit out of this. Regardless, before we hop into things, it'd be greatly appreciated that if you do go on to enjoy, you consider dropping the video a like, subscribing if you're new around here, as well as turning on notifications. That way you get notified every single time I post a video. You can also follow me over on twitch.tv/iamexpel. I stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, all the way up until 2 p.m., which is when my videos go live on YouTube. And then last but not least, follow me over on Twitter and join my Discord. All links down below in the description. Regardless, I hope you guys do go on to enjoy. If this is helpful, please let me know with a comment. And here comes the knowledge, baby. I do my best with my videos to try and help as many people as I possibly can. And as some of you may have noticed, this video is a bit more about covering the basics within Warzone. So, with that said, I'd like to let you all know I'll actually be covering quite a few of the more beginner things within Warzone in my new Warzone series, Warzone for Beginners. That was a lot of words that were beginners in Warzone. Wow. I will be leaving a link to the playlist in the video description to make sure you all have the opportunity to learn things like how to get the absolute best movement within Warzone to destroy your own Warzone lobbies. With that said, let's go ahead and hop on into things. Now, when it comes to UAVs, it's something we've had in pretty much every single Call of Duty game. But now, while moving into Modern Warfare and moreover Warzone, things have changed a bit. The UAVs in this game actually give you a bit more information than what we have had in previous Call of Duty games within this series. So, this will be an in-depth coverage of the kill streak as well as the radar or minimap altogether. To begin with, let's cover the basics. You can get the kill streaks in Warzone in one of three ways. Option number one is to open up one of the loot boxes you find throughout the map and happen upon a kill streak from that. These are particularly helpful as they come at literally zero cost to you as a player. However, option number two can add up to quite a bit over time. So our second option is to, with plunder, buy a UAV or other kill streak from one of the buy stations scattered throughout the map. Each time you buy these, it will either cost $4,000, which is the normal price, or it may cost $3,000 if you have the perk hardline. As I've said though, this can be quite costly, and if you aren't watching your cash, it can definitely put you in a bad spot. Option number three is to grab an already bought or scavenged UAV from the dead body of an enemy. Now, while this may seem like you're just looting like regular, remember, you had to work for this one. And I'll say, there's nothing quite like pulling a UAV out of the cold dead hands of your enemy just to use it to eliminate even more players. So, now you know how you can find a UAV. But you may be asking yourself, why are we talking about UAVs? Why are we only talking about UAVs? Are they really that big of a deal when it comes to the minimap? The simple answer, yes, they are that big of a deal. Within Warzone, you're going to find that literally every single person is going to be running a silencer on their weapon. If they aren't, then they've obviously not found the monolithic suppressor. Seriously, you should be using this if you aren't. It's on every single one of my weapons, on every single one of my loadouts, and I cannot recommend this enough to you all. Anyway, the issue with everyone running suppressors is that literally no one will be showing up on the map past whenever the first loadout drops come in. Once people grab their loadout, they'll have their weapons and they'll also have their perks. Speaking of perks, on the perk side of things, something else that can really put a player down when they're trying to learn the radar is Ghost. Ghost is a perk that we will find in the second perk slot, which will actually make you not show up on the radar at all. Regardless of whether or not a player has a UAV, this person is never going to show up, especially if they have a suppressor. So just because someone doesn't show up on your UAV doesn't mean they aren't near you. So while I do recommend grabbing as many UAVs as your in-game wallet can handle, as you progress in the higher skill-based categories, you'll find yourself in lobbies with more and more people running perks like Ghost that will allow them to not be seen on the minimap. All right, so that was a lot to get out of the way, and I'm sorry to the impatient ones that will probably be writing something stupid in the video comments anyway. But we pretty much had to cover the basics. That way we could get to the juicy bits. So let's go ahead and move on. Now that you know the items that can help you and also hurt you whenever it comes to the use of the radar, let's actually talk about how to use said radar. I'm going to do my best to explain it at different levels of skill so everyone has the opportunity to learn from this. When you're first starting to play Warzone and you're dying quite a bit, you may find the ratio of your kills to death favoring more deaths and less kills. Based on how the matchmaking within Warzone works, it is going to be skill-based matchmaking. What this means is it's actually going to put you into a different category of skill along with the players of your same skill level. And this will change as you get better as well. For this specific time, however, I would like to recommend that you grab as many UAVs as you possibly can to allow yourself and help yourself gain as much knowledge of where enemies are at within the map. Having Ghost on whatever classes you have set up would also be a great investment. That way you can kind of combat other people using UAVs as well. Now, when you call in these UAVs or see someone pop up on the map, you may notice they pop up as a little red dot. And that little red dot may have an arrow pointing up above it or an arrow pointing down below it. If you have either of these arrows, then you'll know that the enemy is at a different height than you are at your current position. If the arrow is above, they are higher. If the arrow is below, then they are lower. This is one of the most useful things to know when playing Warzone, as it can literally save you in tons of different cases. I often use this to decide how many flights of stairs I need to go up in a building to find where an enemy is or if an enemy is below ground. A big thing to remember is that there's actually a respawning mechanic within Warzone. Obviously, this is going to be the gulag in most cases, and in some additional game modes, there may not be a gulag. People may just come back based on their money. Take, for example, Stimulus solos. Regardless, this makes it where players actually may be flying up above you. If you find someone on your UAV that you just can't figure out where they are, check up in the sky. I can't tell you the number of times I've actually been able to shoot people out of the air for a free kill. A lot of these people, and this seems to be an issue, will actually fly down just holding out their parachutes instead of diving. Now, whenever they're diving, it's very, very hard to hit your shots, and I don't recommend that you even attempt to shoot at people that are in the sky whenever they're going straight down. But if they have their parachute out and they're slowly floating down like your grandma stuck in molasses on a Tuesday, then I highly recommend you at least kind of try and take a shot to see if you can hit a few. And if you feel comfortable with your scenario, with your spot, I recommend you continue shooting to try and get that free kill. Now, I'd like to remind you that as you climb the skill-based matchmaking ladder, you're going to find more and more people using Ghost. You can see this in any of the videos that I post whenever I'm playing solos, and even the videos that I post whenever I'm playing trios, quads, and hopefully one day duos. Please, Modern Warfare, we beg of you, Infinity Ward, just put it in, man. So you'll see that a lot of people are going to be running Ghost. This is going to make it very hard for you to find those enemies that you were eliminating so easily before. At this point, I highly recommend you do your best to use your rotations, your gun skill, and try and traverse the map a little bit more in the later game, maybe around the edge of the circle and hugging walls and stuff like that, to try and catch individuals you find off guard rather than just spamming UAVs, because at this point, it's not going to work. So with all of that said, it's basically a good explanation of how to use your radar. However, I'd like to remind you that whenever you use a UAV, it's not going to give you the exact floor someone's on in a building, as that's really not possible for them to do. I had a video recently where people are really asking me, How do you use the UAV to see where people are at on each floor and stuff like that? But at the end of the day, that's really not how the UAV works, and it's best to try and remember that UAVs aren't perfect and they're not something that you can constantly use. But as long as you remember what they're useful for, you'll know whether or not you need to spend money. Once you get to the higher ranks and stuff like that, you won't be spending as much money on these UAVs, and you can spend it on more useful things for you. I do, however, want to recommend that you also use the heartbeat sensor in the lower ranks. And the reason I say this is because instead of using the UAV for the radar, you can use a heartbeat sensor and it'll show how many meters out someone is to you. Obviously, this isn't going to be like the UAV where it shows, you know, how high up someone is or how low someone is via your minimap, but it'll still be very, very useful. Again, I'd like to say thank you to those of you that have bared with me while I try to unpack this information for you in basically the most timely manner that I possibly could. I truly think that if you implement this knowledge into your game that I've shared to you today, you'll definitely become a better player. Alrighty guys, now normally this is the part where I say that's gonna do it for the video, but in all reality, I did want to kind of give you a heads up on a couple of things that I didn't mention in the video. There's things like opening up your minimap. You know, I didn't want to give you the exact buttons or anything like that to open it up because these are things that you should learn as soon as you get the game rather than while you're playing the game. When you get the game, you're taught to open your minimap and stuff like that within training. So I'm not going to be covering things like that. You have to go through that. There's no option. So I'm not going to cover that. But you know, you may have seen me in certain times open up my minimap and mark where I saw an enemy via the UAV that I had. That's a great tactic that you can use. It's a little bit more advanced that I see a lot more, you know, higher skilled players using. And I recommend that you use that as well. You know, I also didn't mention things like bounties. Bounties are fantastic ways to use your minimap to help you find, if you're playing solos, one person and kill them. You don't get an exact location with the bounties, but you do find, you know, the roundabout area and you can pretty much figure out where they're at from there. So that's just a couple of things that I really didn't mention. If you have anything else that you'd like to know about in the comments, let me know. Please ask me a question. I'd love to respond to you and try and give you an answer to whatever question you have. Regardless, now that is going to do it for the video. If you did go on to enjoy, ladies and gentlemen, please do me a favor and drop the video a like, subscribe if you're new around here, and turn on notifications. That way you get notified every single time I post a video. We are on our way to 50,000 subscribers, guys. We are getting so close. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and show a little love and help us hit that goal. Regardless, ladies and gentlemen, it'd be greatly appreciated if you go follow me over on the twitch.tv/iamexpel. I stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, all the way up until 2 p.m. I don't know how to speak. All the way up until 2 p.m., which is when the videos go live on YouTube. And then last but not least, follow me on Twitter and join my Discord. You can find those links down below, along with the links to all my social medias. Dude, I can't talk today. I don't know what to say. Just get the fudge out of here or watch another one of my videos or something. Get out of here.